A to the K.
To the K.
To the K.
Hello, welcome to the Rapid Roundup, where we recap SmackDown, Raw, Dynamite, and Collision in 12 minutes or less, or you're pizza free. Kicking off SmackDown, Logan Paul reveals the fans are going to be the first to witness history unfold. He talks about his successes, he talks about how WWE's booming, you may say it's in its prime. He reveals the big surprise, Prime is the center ring sponsor for WWE at every premium live event going forward. He brings out KSI, they pose for a picture, but Orton tries a sneak attack from behind on Logan Paul. He escapes, but KSI eats an RKO. This then leads to a tag match where RK Owens, thank you, TM, defeat Theory and Waller. After the match, Logan sneak attacks them. He goes to hit Orton with brass knucks, but Orton stops him and he retreats. So we are definitely getting Orton and Logan Paul at Mania. But where does Kevin Owens fit in all of this? We will have to see. Following on from this, Lashley takes on Karrion Kross in what is the most tepid feud of all time. Scarlett, she tries to get involved this time, but B-Fab stops her. Authors of Pain get involved. The Street Profits also try and get involved as well, but they fail. Ultimately, the Final Testament end up taking out Bobby. We also hear from Bayley, who says she's on her own, and Damage Control also say that the group was their idea from day one, and it looks like we're getting Dakota Kai versus Bayley next week. Then Tiffany Stratton once again shows off her great in-ring skills with a win over Michin. AJ Styles, he says that he watched LA Knight walk around like he owned the place, but he doesn't have to. He doesn't deserve to be in the locker room. He's a loudmouth that desperately needs humbling, and he's the phenomenal choice for the job. We see LA Knight backstage watching the promo, and he decides to smash a TV with a chair. Also, Dragon Lee gets a win over Angel Garza, but he's assaulted by the rest of Legado del Fantasma. No idea where the LWO are at this point, though, because they didn't make the save, but maybe we're getting some kind of multi-man thing going here for Mania. Let's see. In terms of the main events for SmackDown, Roman Reigns, the Bloodline, make their way down to the ring, followed by The Rock with a brand new entrance and a pretty awesome one at that. The pair of them hug, and Roman says, "Acknowledge us." So definitely leaning into this whole they're on the same page thing. Cody's team interrupts though. Cody and Seth make their way through the crowd down towards the ring. The ring is surrounded by security, as well as Nick Aldis and the rest of the Bloodline. Cody says he feels lucky to be standing in the ring. He wants them to take a moment to feel this. The four of them standing here. He's heard the Rock's challenge, but asks if he has the authority to make that decision since he acknowledged Roman Reigns as his tribal chief. Rock reiterates the stakes, but Seth cuts him off, calling him Mr. Midlife Crisis. Take that over Diarrhea Dwayne any day. But yeah, ultimately they accept, and The Rock, though, adds in an extra stipulation. If Cody loses, he will never challenge for the title again. No fucking way. AEW stipulation has made its appearance. Could you actually imagine? Fast forward 1 year into the future, where Cody is defending the Netflix title and saying how it's on the same page as the Universal. But it's official. Tag match, night one. Incredibly high stakes. And Cody slaps the piss out of The Rock for revenge to close out SmackDown. So not too bad. Over to Raw, Big Daddy Drew kicking off the show. He says Seth thinks everything revolves around him and he's got nothing to do with Cody's story. He just wants to politic his way to the main event. Seth appears, interrupts Drew though, asks him to Claymore him. He says, I'll turn around, since you're such a coward, you can get me from behind. Drew refuses though, and Rollins says Drew is starting to remind him of CM Punk, which Drew is not happy about because now he is the biggest hypocrite in the world. He's going on about the bloodline screwing him, but now he can't win a match without the bloodline. So yeah, basically, Seth says of all the threats he's got to face at WrestleMania, Drew is the one he cares the least about. But Drew McIntyre just walks away. We then get Becky versus Liv in the first match of the night, and what a match it was. Absolute banger. Liv clearly learning some new stuff down at the dungeon. Lots of near falls, but ultimately Becky gets the win. Rhea Ripley comes down after the match, and she says she's going to take... Liv says to Rhea she's going to take everything from her for revenge for what she did, but Ripley gets in the ring and stares down Becky, who is her opponent at Mania. And ultimately, she says Becky knows deep down that Rhea's better than her. And Becky said when the world's behind her, she's good, but when they're not, she's great. Backstage, we see Becky and Liv shake hands, but Nia Jax beats them both up and puts Becky Lynch through a table. So Looks like we're getting Becky versus Nia next week. I think it's the last woman standing match or something. So no idea where Liv and Nia and all of them factor into the WrestleMania card, but some multi-woman match maybe for a number one contender spot doesn't seem out of the question. Speaking of the women, Maxine Dupree and Ivy Nile took on Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. Maxine went for the Caterpillar, but Candice stops her. She runs her down for why she's such an embarrassment, why everybody hates her. Brings a dead brother into the mix for some reason, and basically Dupree says she can't do this. As she goes to walk away, Indy hits her in the face for the win. Obviously trying to capitalise on this whole real life scenario, the fans turning on Maxine at live events, but not too sure how well this is going to go, and not too sure how well Candice and Indy will do as heels, but let's see. Cody is interviewed in the middle of the ring by Michael Cole. He says The Rock thinks that he's his boss, but he's not so sure that he even is. But if he is, it feels good to slap your boss. He says Rock's a wrestler, so he knows that slap was a receipt. And Cole says he's putting everything in jeopardy in that tag match. How can he trust Seth? And Cody says people change, but this is his one shot to get a fair opportunity at Roman Reigns. The story is no longer about Cody and Roman. It's about everyone who's followed him for the past year, the crowd. He mentions his family, his sister, and obviously he gets emotional when he talks about his mother. He says he can't hand that belt to Dusty, but he can hand it to his mum and also his wife for putting up with him for all this time. And he says that they're no longer in the third inning. They are now in the last inning. And at WrestleMania, Michael Cole will be able to say Cody Rhodes finished the story. So let's see, because if he doesn't, then, well, heck. The big announcement from Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis is that there's going to be a 12-person tag team ladder match at Mania for the titles. Finn, Damien, furious by this news, and we ultimately get Priest versus R-Truth in a match, which Priest wins, but DIY are also getting involved, so you have to assume both Awesome Truth and DIY are two of the 5 teams set to face Judgment Day. Also, Kabuki Warriors defended their tag titles against Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler. They were successful, and Jey Uso calls out his brother Jimmy for a brother versus brother match at Mania, so that will be a banger, I am sure. Main event, Intercontinental title gauntlet match, comes down to Sammy and Chad Gable, and man, did I want Chad to win this, but Sammy reverses the ankle lock into a roll-up for the win. But you know what? Didn't look like Chad's shoulders were down at all, so hopefully, I'm praying, I'm clutching at straws that they are going to do something to kind of make this a triple threat and get Gable in there, because I just want to see Gable win. He deserves it, so let's see. Not against Sammy, but yeah, should have been Gable. Moseying on over to Dynamite. It's got a new look, new theme as well. I'll have to say I'll miss the old one, but we'll see if this one grows on me. Swerve kicks off the show. He says when he signed, he said he's going to win the title, but he's got no goal around his waist. Maybe Karma's catching up with him from all the bad stuff he's done, and maybe he's not destined to be a champ. But Joe comes down and Swerve says, you know what, let's have a fight right now. Undisputed Kingdom come out though as well. Adam Cole says Roddy's the new international champ. Taven and Bennett are still the tag team champs. So the one person who has no chance of hell of being a champ is Swerve, because it'll be Wardlow challenging Joe, and he's going to bring it home. Cole says that Taven and Bennett against Joe and Swerve next week, but Tony Khan gets in Tony Schiavone's ear and says it's going to happen right now. So Swerve and Joe do get the win, and Wardlow shows up after the match, and that causes a bit of a distraction, and Joe chokes out Swerve. So we are getting Wardlow versus Joe, and yeah, I'm sure it'll be interesting, but I can't see Joe losing next week. Hook retains the FTW title over Brian Cage. Gates of Agony beat down Hook after the match, but Jericho, of all people, makes the save. Also, Killswitch gets a win over Matt Maynard, and Daniel Garcia comes down, but Killswitch and Nick Wayne beat him down. They celebrate on the ramp, but Adam Copeland returns, chair in hand. He chokes out Nick Wayne on the ramp, chases Christian through the crowd, and says, Toronto Dynamite, it'll be an I Quit match for the TNT title. So nice to see Copeland back. The Young Bucks say that they're here to do some housekeeping. Hangman is suspended for putting his hands on officials, and Kenny Omega has missed too many dates for no apparent reason, despite him obviously being very seriously out with, whatever he's out with. So, yeah, Omega's now fired as well. Eddie Kingston comes down and they beat him up, and the Bucks get the upper hand, go for the VP trigger when Okada's music hits. He makes his debut, and just as he looks like he's coming out to save Kingston, he hits him with a Rainmaker, and the Bucks announce the newest member of the Elite, Okada. So, this was pretty cool. Kingston being the guy to make your debut against, But if he's going to win all them belts and take them off him, then I guess it makes sense. But the Elite back and they are heels. Darby Allin addresses life after Sting. He says next week he's fighting Jay White, and then at the end of the month he's off to climb Mount Everest, and there's no guarantee he's going to come back alive. He's forfeiting the tag titles because Sting is irreplaceable. He can't get any other partner that can do what Sting can do. Jay White comes out, he congratulates him for Revolution, but says without Sting he's like a lost puppy. They don't need to have a match, but Darby says that he doesn't believe the hype around Jay White. He's going to see him next week. And also Rio got a win over Chris Statlander. Then main event, Will Ospreay takes on Kyle Fletcher, and absolutely epic. I wasn't a huge fan of the ending though, with Fletcher basically just telling Ospreay to hit him, and yeah, he did. So that was weird, but great match. And after the match, Bryan Danielson comes out and stares Ospreay down. So let's go over to Collision where we find out what that all means, because Danielson defeated Shane Taylor, kicking off the show. But after the match, Ospreay comes down. He puts over Danielson, puts over the sandwiches backstage. Got to say, everyone loves them sandwiches. Kevin Von Erich, our guest on the show last week, absolutely praised catering. So yeah, who are they buying from? Let us know. He accepts Danielson's challenge for a match at Dynasty, and this is going to absolutely slap, man. I can't wait. People already though saying like, oh, there's no build. Like, the build is best wrestler versus best wrestler, who wins, and they've still got like weeks anyway, so just give it time. Following on from this trios action, the EVPs and Okada basically squashed 3 jobbers, but what was brilliant about it, the Bucks didn't even get involved. They just left it all to Okada, and essentially wins a 3-on-1 match. Eddie Kingston tries to get revenge after the match, but he's outnumbered. Penta tries to make the save. Again, the numbers game is too much until Pac returns and he has a face-off with Okada. Pac gets the better of him. The EVPs make the save, and it's great to have Pac back. And then it's all about the Brits. First Ospreay, then Pac, now Mariah May comes out dressed as Toni Storm, defeats Queen Aminata. After the match, Toni shows up to give the first ever Toni Award to Mariah May, but as she goes to present it, and the award is a shoe, by the way, which is brilliant. As she goes to present it, Deonna Purrazzo attacks her, but Mariah makes a save, so Deonna's outnumbered. She needs a partner. Big business this week. Who do you think's going to show up for that? Nick Wayne defeats a jobber. After the match, Christian tears up a fan sign, but that fan is none other than Adam Copeland. He beats everyone up. He tells Christian to get ready to say 2 words. So yeah, TNT title, Cope Cage 3, I quit. Also, we had a box that said Spike on it. No, it didn't really reveal what that was. It looks like it was some kind of wooden plank with some nails sticking out of it. So there will be blood, I am guessing. Jericho defeats Titan, but Gates of Agony beat him down after the match. Hook makes a save with a kendo stick. Also, FTR in the ring for an interview because the tag tournament has been announced to find new champions, but the Infantry interrupt and FTR put them on notice. Also, Mystico defeats Angelico, and fuck me, 2024 and Jeff Jarrett is in the main event of a television show. Holy shit. House of Black taking on Jarrett, Lethal, and Briscoe in a street fight for some reason, and House of Black get the win. So yeah, Collision started off really strong and then kind of fell off a cliff, unfortunately. But what did you make of the matches this week? You're looking forward to Dynasty? You're looking forward to Mania? Let us know in the comments, and we will catch you on the next one.